Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. need to be Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill come 2025. How does that happen? The Cardinals fix their pass-catching room. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Heading into my 9th season hosting this lovely podcast, Minute Sports Radio in Phoenix since 2011. I'm jacked up. I'm so excited. Combine really starts tomorrow. You know, we've got GMs talking today. Jonathan Gannon's talking today. I'll discuss more about that tomorrow. We're going to put a pause after today in the How to Fix the Cardinals series to talk a little bit about the Combine, probably for the rest of the week. And then I'll jump in on both offensive line and defensive line to start Monday of next week in a grouped-in, jam-packed episode to start next week. The Cardinals need to fix the wide receiver room. How do they do it? And when I say wide receiver room, let's talk pass catchers, because Trey McBride needs to be grouped in. You're not going to put how to fix the tight end room. It's really the only thing that doesn't need fixing, because Trey McBride's a tight end one. He could be bona fide tight end one in the league after the 2025 season is over. There's some fascinating numbers, and I want to compare. Travis Kelce's first 3 years, Tyreek Hill's first year, combined with Trey McBride's first 3 years and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s first year. It's not exactly the same, but if the Cardinals want to win, it's got to be a Travis Kelce plus Tyreek Hill part 2 with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. And there's a way to fix it. I'm going to discuss why the Cardinals need to fix it in the next segment. And finally, I'll give some positives to kind of sugarcoat what's a pretty good situation, but can be exponentially better. Absolutely exponentially better. And I think everybody agrees with that, especially with what we've seen. Positives last year and the just terrible negatives. The terrible, where the hell did that come from when they'd been humming for so long? It's really frustrating. And, I think that I've got the elixir to fix it. This needs to be Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s show. For that to happen, how you fix the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver and pass catcher room is you get other wide receivers involved. And that seems counterintuitive, just like my show last week, how the running back room needs to be fixed by giving James Conner the ball less. The Cardinals have so much talent in the wide receiver room. I don't know why Michael Wilson gets so much flack. I don't get it. I don't know why Drew Petzing and whoever the offensive coordinator is at the time forgets that Greg Dortch is on the roster. Those two guys, when given opportunities, produce. Yes, some of it is on Kyler Murray. Yes, some of it is scheme. Yes, some of it is because they run the ball so damn much. There's only so many footballs to go around. I get it all. And for Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. to reach that elite level of duo, Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch need more touches. You don't need Marvin Harrison Jr. to get 30% more targets than he had last year. You don't need Trey McBride to get 30% more targets than he had last year, which would be nearly impossible. You need those looks to be more efficient in moving the ball down the field. And the way to do that is by keeping opposing defenses honest, by getting the ball to Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, if they draft a wide receiver, whoever is in the wide receiver room come week 1 of 2025, they need to be more integrally involved. Because when you look at what Zay Jones did last year, it was nothing. And Zay Jones isn't some scrub off the street. Like, he's a fringe, low-end wide receiver 2 in this league, and he was pretty much forgotten. He was forgotten for the entire – and I know that he missed the first 6 weeks, but he was forgotten in this offense. He caught a ball down the field like later in the season. I'm like, oh, I forgot that he's on the roster. And when they brought him in, I was pining for them to bring him in, a veteran leader in the wide receiver room. It's like, oh, that's great. And then nothing on the field. That needs to change. That's how you fix the Cardinals wide receiver room. Because when you look at 2025, and I discussed this about how you fix the quarterback room last week, which you can check out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast as well, is this needs to be more of a Kyler Murray-centric offense, meaning he needs to be throwing the ball more. And I know the running the ball first is important, and that's how teams win Super Bowls, and that's how it's been forever. And the offense regarding the passing game needs to be as efficient as the rush attack. It doesn't matter the numbers by which you run the ball. It's that you are efficient and effective when you do choose to run the ball, because opposing defenses need to watch out for the pass game as much as the run game. We saw one of the biggest issues the Cardinals had this year. One of the biggest issues they had was when the run game didn't work, the pass game couldn't do anything. And it wasn't even that much. But we did see it in the Seattle game coming out of the bye week in week 12. James Conner was non-existent. I don't even know if he had 10 yards rushing that game. Seattle was notorious throughout the first 3 months of the season by being terrible against the run. And what they did, they're taking that away. The pass game needs to beat them, and they couldn't. And it was bad. And the Cardinals looked terrible on the road at Lumen Field. So that needs to be avoided. How you fix that is you make this pass-catching group the most demonic it's been since Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden. That's deep cut at this point. This isn't no risk it, no biscuit, throwing the ball to John Brown down the field, hoping to get a pass interference call if it's not a catch. This isn't J.J. Nelson and Jerron Brown. You drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. Year 2, there are no excuses as to getting him to that, like two guys or two, race car drivers, like neck and neck, nose to nose to nose to nose, going towards the finish line. That's where you want Marvin Harrison Jr. to rip that away from Trey McBride this year. You want them to compete and be at that Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill level. And the way to do that is to keep opposing defenses honest immediately. This isn't like maybe they should get Greg Dortch involved in week 5. No. This needs to be set and ready to go immediately. Because if you look at the skill position players for the Arizona Cardinals, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all together, it could be argued that that's a top 10 group in the league. 12, whatever it is. It's definitely top half. And if you can realize their maximum potential, this offense could be absolutely scary. And I know the conversation with Kyler Murray, that's fine. I'm talking about the wide receiver room specifically right now and the pass catching room in general. Getting other players involved is how you unlock that level of talent and efficiency and just demonic, scary, holy bleep, who can stop this offense, led by Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. But you've got to get the backup dancers in too. You've got to get those guys. And this isn't just like, Mecole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson, like those guys were burners. And yeah, Mecole Hardman kept opposing defenses honest. And Demarcus Robinson kept opposing defenses honest. Not as much. Sammy Watkins was there. And I'm not comparing Kyler Murray to Patrick Mahomes either. Okay. I don't know if I need to say that, but I'm not. Like, rarely do you have a tight end one bona fide and a potential perennial Pro Bowl talent on the same field. They need to get in the lab, I'm sure they are already, Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray, and evolve this offense into something that caters to them now, because it wasn't last year for Marvin Harrison Jr. specifically. I said it when they drafted him. It's going to be difficult to, you can't just place a guy like that in a run-first, kind of boring, mundane, tight end-centric offense. We saw flashes. It can't be flashes anymore. It's got to be the rule, not the exception to it. And getting others involved is the key to unlock that Shangri-La that is Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., approaching an arena in which Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill thrive for so long. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Why do you fix it? It wasn't that bad. So why would you fix it like that? Why would you get others involved instead of just throwing to those two? I'll discuss it next. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. Again, combine in full swing. The report cards are reported. The team report cards are reportedly coming out tomorrow. So if that's the case, I'm going to wait a little bit to record so I can do an entire show on that. We can do some mock draft stuff. We'll kind of center this around ideas of where the Cardinals should go. And I am, barring any sort of trade with that, getting a player or, any sort of package, including first rounder for a proven talent, pass rusher or something like that. I am still in the camp that offensive line is where they should be at 16. And I know that they need so much more help on the defensive line, whether it be interior or in the pass rush. I know that. I completely understand, and it's valid for those that think that. I still think that if you can grab, nab is what I was going to say. Nab and snag turned into a different word. If you can grab an offensive lineman, one of the best in the draft this year, you do it at 16. And we can break down the options. Mel Kiper's rolling out. Daniel Jeremiah's rolling out. A bunch of different names. We can talk about it. But I think that that's still the way to go. Build the offensive line first. Add proven talent on the defensive line. And then draft in the second round. In the third round. Take a bunch of defensive players. I still think grabbing the best offensive lineman available at 16 would best serve the Cardinals moving forward. Why fix it? Why mess with it? The pass catching. Trey McBride was great. Marvin Harrison Jr. showed flashes of excellence. And I always discuss this. I always got to give him his flowers with what he does on the sideline. When it's him versus the sideline, acrobatic catches, always gets 2 feet down. It's wild how he does difficult things and makes it look easy. And it's a sight to behold for sure. And it's got to get a lot better in 2025. And that's on Kyler Murray. That's on Drew Petzing, putting him in a position to succeed. And that is Marvin Harrison Jr. evolving and growing and maturing, getting stronger as an NFL player. Why fix it, though? Why not just 15 targets to Marvin Harrison Jr., 15 targets to Trey McBride? Why fix it? Aside from the fact that it was so inconsistent. They were so inconsistent last year. Real quick numbers. Travis Kelce's first 3 years, 224 receptions, 2,800 receiving yards, and 14 touchdowns. Those were without Patrick Mahomes, 14, 15, 16. McBride had 221 receptions, 2,200 yards, and 6 touchdowns. The touchdown thing is an anomaly. I would take the over on total touchdowns scored. But he had Kyler Murray for half a year, his rookie year. He had Josh Dobbs for half a year, his second year, and then he finally had Kyler Murray last year, where he blew the roof off with 111 receptions. Tyreek Hill, his rookie year, 61 receptions, 593 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That was before Patrick Mahomes. Marvin Harrison Jr. shattered all those numbers. And then his first year with Patrick Mahomes, 75 receptions, 1,183 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So these guys aren't out of the realm of possibility to be able to go down that path with the 1-2 punch of Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Why fix it? Why not just focus on those two guys? Because of its inconsistency in 2024, because one of the downsides of Kyler Murray is when he locks in on one target, it doesn't matter really who it is. Every game, it's a little bit different at times. He's not diversifying his portfolio enough. So why fix it? To make everything easier. Because when you have guys like Michael Wilson, like Greg Dortch, who are absolute game changers in different ways, not at the level of Junior and Trey McBride, but have shown that they can game break when given opportunities, it makes it easier on everybody. It makes it easier on Kyler Murray. It makes it easier on Drew Petzing as a play caller. It makes it easier on the run game. It makes it easier altogether for the Cardinals to put together a cohesive unit on the offensive side of the ball. Everybody wins when opposing defenses don't know who to cover on a specific play. Sure, you've got your first option, which the majority of the time will be Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. Why not the thing that pissed me off more than most down the stretch, especially when the Cardinals were eliminated from playoff contention, was all of the little fun little slip screens and little packages for Greg Dortch to run. Like, where the hell was that? All you need, just like with Kyler Murray's legs that I pounded the table for this entire year, which they did early and then get away from it. It's like he just has to run the ball 1 or 2 times and have them be timed well, and then opposing defenses will be on their heels because they're like, oh yeah, forgot you got to watch for Kyler Murray running the ball too. Greg Dortch is that in the wide receiver room. Whether he's in the slot or he's outside, or you run a wide receiver bubble screen for him, whatever it is, he has the ability to provide the misdirection necessary for the Cardinals to break an opposing defense. And they never use them. So why fix it? Because it makes it easier on everybody. There's no rule that says Trey McBride needs 20 targets a game. He gets close to it. There's no reason to think that that's the best and most effective way to do it. When you need a go-to, got to have it, 3rd and 7, yeah, you look at your best players. It makes it so much easier for those guys to do their job. If there are 2 other wide receivers who Kyler Murray trusts, he trusts Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. We've seen it. And sure, this is on Kyler Murray too, okay? I'm not saying that, oh, Drew Petzing's got to go. They're not getting it done. No. Come on. Come on. They're driving a Lamborghini in first gear. The thing I will say that is on Drew Petzing, and I mentioned this last week about, the growth and evolution of his play calling. They've got to get more creative getting their playmakers on the outside involved. That's one thing that needs to happen, and that's why you fix this. That's why you get everybody else involved immediately. Draw up plays from Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch and whoever else if they draft a wide receiver. If it's Xavier Weaver, whoever it is, get them involved immediately. The whole weird drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. number 4 overall, got to force feed him, got to do this. That doesn't work with Kyler Murray. We saw it, in the first quarter with against the Rams with broken plays, and Marv showed what he's got, especially that first touchdown catch, the back of the end zone against the paint, against the chalk, where he catches it, gets 2 feet down, running full speed it was magic. Michael Wilson is 6'3". Greg Dortch is one of the speedier receivers in the league. You've got all different types of combo routes you can call to keep opposing defenses honest. And guess what? If they've got 5 DBs on the field, can run the hell out of the ball. That's the balance that we saw during the win streak, and that was completely devoid before and after it. So why you fix it? Maybe take the easy route. Maybe instead of taking the expert, double black diamond, I'm not really a skier, side of the mountain, go down the bunny slopes. The Cardinals always seem to do things more difficultly than what's necessary to get from A to B. You fix the pass catching room by getting everybody else more involved. Why? It's easier. More options, less coverage by opposing defenses, lighter boxes for the run game based upon that, Kyler Murray having the ball in his hand. And then, yes, the inherent benefit of this, whether positive or negative, you're going to find out who Kyler Murray is when everything is on the line for him as an Arizona Cardinal, for better or worse. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. What are the positives? Let's gush about these guys next. Hi, I'm Alex Clancy. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button. Going into my 9th damn year, man. I'm so, I can't believe it. It is safe to say at this point going into 2025 that I've never been more confident in a coaching staff and front office since coming to Arizona. Michael Bidwell, we'll see. We'll see if he puts his checkbook where his mouth is. That's going to be it, because this is the real, the Band-Aid's going to be ripped off. And listen, I know the Bidwell family, they don't want to spend. Michael Bidwell's never really spent. He paid Kyler Murray. He dumped some bad contracts to veteran guys who just wanted a paycheck. They've got the cheese. They've got the needs. There are some free agents that aren't going to require $200 million a year who they can afford to pay. It's just a matter of if Michael Bidwell cares enough for the product on the field, instead of just talking about it, paying for it. Paying contracts to guys who can make this defense specifically immeasurably better right away. What are the positives about the pass catching group? One, Trey McBride is a bona fide tight end one. He makes it look easy, just like Travis Kelce did when he really started to get good. Having Patrick Mahomes helps, of course. What Trey McBride has going for him is he's Kyler Murray's favorite target. What Trey McBride has going for him is he's a very level-headed young man who loves to block. He's very George Kittle-y. But I think that he plays like George Kittle. But George Kittle, to me, is more like Gronk in this kind of sense. Rob Gronkowski never made it look easy. He just ran over people. He was a bowling ball. He was, 6'5", 250? He was an absolute ridiculous specimen of a human. George Kittle is a pro wrestler who plays football. He goes after contact, and so does Trey McBride, but he makes it look a lot more effortless like Travis Kelce does. Travis Kelce knows his angles better than any tight end I've seen in recent memory. He just knows how to go, whoop. He's never been the fastest dude. He just knows how to get to his spots. He's like DeAndre Hopkins. Just knows how to get to his spot. He's never the fastest guy. Travis Kelce is more George Kittle in the sense of I will run somebody over, but he's also very elusive like Travis Kelce is. Okay. And they just got to be getting him in the end zone more. I mean, it's bananas. It's crazy that he's only had 6 touchdowns in his career. The fact that he's had under 10 touchdowns in his career absolutely blows my mind. Marvin Harrison Jr., while at times very much not on the same page as Kyler Murray, and very much not seemingly strong enough to be able to go against some of the more aggressive, DBs in the league, didn't show, aside from a drop in his first game, there was a drop, midway through the season where it's man, you're trying to get this guy involved. He's just dropping wide open passes. He also had the second best catch rate of any receiver in the NFL, according to the 33rd team. So drop rate really isn't a big deal for him. The positives are we didn't have any real oh no moments. There were some not great ones, okay? There were some moments where man, he and Kyler Murray need to figure that out. That's got to get fixed immediately. He looked good. And I just need to put this inlet here. I did a whole, expose, couple episodes on if Micah Parsons ever became available for a trade, available for a trade, that if they wanted Marvin Harrison Jr., I would swap it. I still would. That's not going to happen, and it has no bearing. It's not predicated upon and not because of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s production. I just think Micah Parsons makes his team better right away. Now, with that not happening, I don't think that they should trade Marvin. They should never offer Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to be great. I just wanted to throw a little in there because I always get a comment like, "Oh, you want to trade him?" No, I don't. I don't think they should. So the positives of the pass catching room is they've got a guy who's already a 1 in alpha in Trey McBride, and a rookie who was thrown into a situation where it's a run-first offense, a run-second offense, and a dominated pass-catching, target share with a tight end who's already initiated himself into being in the tight end one conversation. And, Drew Petzing has never had a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. to throw to. Or another, a scheme for. And then another positive, when Greg Dortch and Michael Wilson get opportunities, they produce. That's a positive. This isn't like, oh no, the Cardinals have Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride, and that's it. Good luck seeing them in bracketed coverage all year. This passing game is going to be terrible. Whatever it is. No. I don't know why Michael Wilson doesn't get his flowers. I don't know why Greg Dortch, who's beloved in the preseason and beloved when the Cardinals are eliminated from playoff contention, not pounding the table for, why not in the middle? Why not in the meat of the sandwich of the season? Get the dude involved. He's electric. They've got a very deep pass-catching room if utilized properly. It hasn't been utilized properly. There, again, have been flashes of, wow, they're really spreading it around. Kyler's really spraying it around. 5 targets for Michael Wilson, 3 targets for Greg Dortch, 8 targets for Marvin Harrison Jr., 11 targets for, I am fully in the camp. Kyler needs to throw the ball more in 2025. I don't know if that means speeding up the offense a little bit. I don't know if that means trying to at least move a little bit closer to the pass, setting up the run just a little bit. I'm not saying 60-40 or anything like that, but at least inch more towards it where it's not, a first down off tackle run every first down to the left or play action. It's no, line up in shotgun, spread it out and throw the damn ball. So they've got to figure out that balance. But the positives, the Cardinals they have a top 3 tight end in the league. They've got, I would still, in the current situation that all these 3 receivers are in, I would still take Marvin Harrison Jr. to have the highest impact of the 3 if he, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. I would. We're going to find out. And the fact that they've got him, and the fact that they've got Trey McBride, and the fact that they've got 2, wide receiver 3s behind them who can produce, that's positive. And it's easy to see what the final product could be if they actually utilize the full extent of their pass-catching talent. So how do you fix the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver room? Get Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch the ball more. That'll open up everything, not only in the pass game, but in the run game too. And it starts with having the ball in Kyler Murray's hands a lot more than we've seen the last 2 years. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I will talk to you tomorrow.